We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on refrigeration and air conditioning. We are continuing with our topic of compound compression. Our today's topic is multiple evaporator systems, in which our first case is multiple evaporators at same temperatures with single compressor and expansion valve. So this is the arrangement for this case. Here you can see that the compressor, condenser and expansion device are as it is, only we are having two evaporators instead of one, and here both the evaporators will be working at the same temperatures. The only difference which is coming here is division of mass M, which is happening here, M1 and M2. Now this is the pH diagram for this arrangement here. We will first begin with point number 1 is having mass M. So we will be beginning from this point. So we will be beginning from this point. Now from 1 to 2 is compression, 2 to 3 is condensation, 3 to 4 is expansion, and here 4 to 1 is our evaporation. Okay, so we are not here distinguishing between E1 and E2 because both are working at the same temperatures, only the difference is of mass. Okay, so this process is applicable for E1 as well as for E2. Now let Q1 and Q2 are tons load on evaporators E1 and E2 respectively. Here m kg of refrigerant is circulating through compressor, condenser and expansion valve. Refrigerant mass M1 and M2 kg circulates through E1 and E2 respectively. So capacity of E1 is given by this formula. If you see, it is capacity of E1 divided by H1 minus H4. Capacity of E1 divided by H1 minus H4, and similarly mass M2 can also be defined in that way. Now the power required to drive the system is given by P is equal to M1 plus M2 into H2 minus H1. So here this compressor is having total mass of M1 plus M2 as M is equal to M1 plus M2. So power required to drive this compressor is M1 plus M2 into H2 minus H1. And COP is given by capacity divided by power, and capacity is total mass m into H1 minus H4 divided by power is total mass m into H2 minus H1. So this is the case in which we are having multiple evaporators at the same temperature with single compressor and expansion device. Now we are moving towards our new theory in which we are having multiple evaporators at different temperatures with individual expansion valves and back pressure valves. So here now the only difference in this case is now we are having individual expansion valves as well as there is a back pressure valve present for two evaporators. So here the total mass m is divided among three evaporators, okay, and additionally we are having two back pressure valves. So we will understand this with the help of pH diagram. So here if you see we will begin from point number 2 to understand this. So from point 2 to point 3, from point 2 to point 3 we are having condensation process. Then from point 3 at this location, from point 3 there is a division of mass. So from point 3 to 4 we are having expansion of M3 mass. So 3 to 4 is expansion of M3 mass. Then 4 to 5 is evaporation of M3 mass. And we will understand this back pressure valve process 5 to 6 later on. Okay, so till now I have explained you that from 3 to 4 there will be a expansion of M3 mass, and then 4 to 5 is the evaporation process. Now similarly for M2 mass there will be expansion from process 3 to 7. Point 3 to 7 we will have expansion of M2 mass, and then from 7 to 8 we are having evaporation. And then mass M, now we are considering the mass M1. So from point 3 to point 10 there is a expansion of mass M, and then from 10 to 11 we are having evaporation of mass M. So here the important part is, now I will explain you about the role of back pressure valve here, in which this compressor's suction pressure is equal to the evaporator pressure of E1. So this compressor condition, inlet condition, is equal to the outlet condition, equal to this evaporator pressure E1. So if you see these three masses are mixed with each other here. So 0.5 and 0.8 cannot work at their own pressure because they need to comply with the suction pressure of this compressor, and it is this suction pressure is equal to the evaporator pressure of E1. So what we need to do here is to further expand this 0.5, that is expand mass 3 till the evaporator pressure of evaporator 1. Similarly we need to expand this mass 2 from evaporator 2 to the evaporator pressure E1. Okay, so 5 to 6 process and 8 to 9 process is indicating the processes of back pressure valve. So point number 11, which is exit of evaporator 1. Point 6 is the exit of the second back pressure valve, and point 9 is the exit of first back pressure valve. So point 6, point 9 and point 11 are mixed together to form point number 1. So from point number 1 we are having expansion compression process 1 to 2, and the same cycle repeats. Okay, so this was the explanation through the pH diagram. Now let Q1, Q2, Q3 turns are load on evaporator E1, E2 and E3 respectively. The mass of refrigerant required to circulate through evaporator is given by these formulas, which are already known to you. Now the enthalpy at point 1 can be calculated by considering the energy balance. Now this is quite easy to understand. So once you take the energy balance at point 1, you will easily obtain this formula. Then power required to drive the system is given by M into H2 minus H1. Total refrigeration capacity, as now we are having 3 evaporators, so it will be summation of 3 capacities. COP of the system is given by capacity divided by power. Now we are into our third topic, which is multiple evaporators at different temperatures with multiple expansion valves and back pressure valves. So this is the arrangement for this case. Now here the only difference is the evaporator expansion valve is handling the full mass, that is M. So we are not having the expansion valve exactly along with the evaporator, it is separated. Now if you see, we will first focus on this EV3. So this EV3 is handling the total mass M, ME1 plus ME2 plus ME3. So here during this expansion process, some vapor will be generated during this process. Okay, so this vapor is taken into the evaporator E3, and some liquid refrigerant is also taken along with it. So to repeat again, during this process of expansion in EV3, some vapor will be generated. This vapor is taken into evaporator E3, and some liquid refrigerant is also taken into evaporator E3, because we need to have evaporation process. For that, some liquid refrigerant is required. Now the remaining mass is passing through EV2, which is ME1 plus ME2, and here further some vapor will be generated here, and this vapor is taken into the evaporator E2, and with this vapor some refrigerant liquid is also taken into evaporator E2. And then the remaining liquid refrigerant is taken into EV3, which is passing through evaporator E1. So evaporator E3 is handling liquid refrigerant plus some vapor which is generated in EV3. Evaporator E2 is handling the vapor which is generated in EV2 plus liquid refrigerant, and evaporator 1 is handling the liquid refrigerant. and the role of back pressure valve is similar to that of previous case, that it will expand the refrigerant till the suction pressure. Here it is, the back pressure valve is not required because this is already at the suction pressure of compressor. So now we will understand this with the help of pH diagram. So this will be the pH diagram for this entire arrangement. We will begin with point number 2. So from point number 2, if you see from 1 to 2, we are having the total mass Me1 plus Me2 plus Me3. So from 2 to 3, you are observing that it is Me1 plus Me2 plus Me3. Now from 3 to 4 is the expansion process which is happening. So 3 to 4 is this expansion process, and then from 4 we are having division of mass. So here if you see, four to 5 is this portion, that is some form of cooling is happening here from 4 to 5 because of evaporation, which vapor formation here. Now from 5 to 6 we are having this evaporator E3. If you see 3 to 4 we are still having full mass Me1 plus Me2 plus Me3. Now from 5 to 6 we are having Me3 only from 5 to 6. And what is this Me3? As I was telling you that it is a combination of vapor which is generated here plus some liquid refrigerant. So this Me3 is equal to M3, which is the liquid refrigerant which is passing, plus MV3, this MV3, you need to focus here. M3 is the liquid refrigerant plus MV3 is the vapor which is formed during EV3. So that is this part 5 to 6. Now then we are having this expansion process 5 to 7 which is happening in EV2. So EV2 is having 5 to 7 process. Then 7 to 8 is some form of cooling which is happening. Then from 8 to 9 we are having evaporator E2. So 8 to 9 is this process where we are having Me2 is equal to M2 plus MV2. So here MV2 is the vapor which is generated in this expansion device, and M2 is the liquid refrigerant which is passing through evaporator E2. And then we are having 8 to 10 as the expansion of Me1 that is happening in EV1, and 10 to 11 is evaporation process. And then this if we further discuss about back pressure valves, then 6 to 6 prime is the expansion which is happening here, 9 to 9 prime is the expansion which is due to this back pressure valve, and this 9 prime, 6 prime and point number 11, 9 prime and 6 prime are mixed together to form point number 1, and from 1 to 2 is the compression process. So this is the whole pH diagram for this arrangement. Now let Q1, Q2 and Q3 turns are load on evaporators E1, E2 and E3 respectively. The mass of refrigerant required to be circulated through evaporator is given by this formula, which is already known to you. And these are nomenclatures which I have already explained. These are all mass nomenclatures which I have already explained to you. And dryness fraction now. So we will try to understand this. First is dryness fraction at point number 4. So if you see at point number 4, we are having some vapor which is generated, MV3. MV3 is the vapor which is generated at EV3. So here the dryness fraction is given by MV3 divided by the total mass, that is ME1 plus ME2 plus ME3, as the dryness fraction was defined as the quantity of vapor divided by total mass. Now the dryness fraction at point number 7 is given by MV2 divided by ME1 plus ME2. To repeat, X7 is the dryness fraction at point 7, which is given by MV2 divided by ME1 plus ME2, which is already shown here also. And yes, you need to try this formula by yourself, that is the value of MV3. Similarly, we are having dryness fraction of refrigerant at 0.7, and you also need to try this formula by yourself. It is nothing but a mass balance. Now the enthalpy of 0.1 is calculated by usual hour energy balance at point number 1, which is given by this formula. Then the power required to drive the system. The total refrigeration capacity is summation of 3 refrigeration capacities of 3 evaporators respectively. Then COP of the system is given by total capacity divided by power, and this is the final equation for COP. Now we are into our last theory of today, which is the multiple evaporators at different temperatures with individual compressors and multiple individual expansion devices. So this is the arrangement for this case, in which, as you can see here, for each mass we are having a complete separate arrangement except condenser. Condenser is common among all 3, and the remaining 3 parts are individual for each set. So we are having separate evaporator, expansion vial and compressor for all 3 sets. Now we will understand this with the help of pH diagram. So here we will begin with, let us say, point number 6. We are beginning with point number 6. Here at point number, after this point, all 3 masses are mixed. So from point 6 to 7, from point 6 till point 7, point 6 to 7, we are having mass M, total mass M, which is summation of M1, M2 and M3. Then from, if you see, from 7 to 8 we are only having mass M3. So here only mass M3 is working. Then from 8 to 5 we are having evaporation. 8 to 5 is evaporation process. Then 5 to 6 is the compression process. Then if we discuss about the mass M2, which is the second here, then from 7 to 9 we are having expansion of M2 mass. So from 7 to 9 we are having expansion of mass M2. Then from 9 to 3 we are having evaporation, that is this point, 9 to 3. Then 3 to 4 is the compression process. And then if we discuss about mass M1, then from point 7 to point 10 we are having expansion in EV1. So from 7 till point number 10 we are having this total expansion of mass M1. Then from point 10 to point 1 it is the evaporation which is happening for mass M1, point 10 to point 1. Then 1 to 2 is our usual compression process. 1 to 2 is the compression which is happening here. And if you see that all three compressors are working on same discharge pressure. All three compressors are working on same discharge pressure. And then there is a mixing of point number 2, point number 4 and point number 6. So 2, 4 and 6 are mixed together and then they are taken into the condenser and the same cycle repeats. Now let Q1, Q2 and Q3 tons are load on evaporators E1, E2 and E3 respectively. The mass of refrigerant required to be circulated through evaporator is given by these usual formulas. Power required to drive the system is summation of 3 powers, as now we are having 3 compressors. So it will be P is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3. Now the total refrigeration capacity is given by this formula, as we are having 3 evaporators, so there will be 3 refrigeration capacities. And then finally the COP of the system, which is given by total capacity divided by power, and it is given by this formula. So this is end of today's lecture. We will quickly revisit the formulas with the topics which we have studied today. So our first case of multiple evaporator system is evaporators working on same temperatures with single compressor and expansion device. Then we studied the formulas. Then multiple evaporator system, evaporators at different temperatures with individual expansion valves and back pressure valves. So here the only difference which is coming here is the role of back pressure valve is there to get to the temperature, get to the pressure of suction pressure of compressor, that is here. And these are all formulas that we have studied. The next is multiple evaporators at different temperatures with multiple expansion valves and back pressure valves. And here the new thing which is coming is the vapor is taken along with the liquid refrigerant in evaporator 3 and evaporator 2. Okay, so that is the only difference, and this is the pH diagram for that. So you need to take care of this mass. ME3 is combination of MV3, that is vapor generated in EV3, plus M3. Similarly, ME2 is equal to MV2, which is the vapor which is generated here, plus M2, and ME1 is only having liquid refrigerant. And these are all formulas. And our last topic was multiple evaporators at different temperatures with individual compressors and individual expansion valves. And here, this is the pH diagram for that. Here we are having separate compressors. That's why we are having these three inclined lines. And then these are relevant formulas. So this is the end of today's lecture. And still we are left with one more lecture of this compound compressor. Thank you for watching this video.